Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt something change? No one said anything, nothing obvious happened, but suddenly you felt tension or sadness, or a strange heaviness you couldn't explain. Maybe you've noticed emotions passing through you that don't seem entirely yours, a wave of compassion, a sudden ache in your chest when someone else is hurting, or moments when someone's presence feels calming before they even speak. Experiences like this can feel confusing at first because they don't follow the usual rules of emotion. Many people going through deep inner transformation describe similar shifts, times when emotional sensitivity becomes stronger, more vivid, almost like the heart has become a quiet receiver. In spiritual traditions, this sensitivity is sometimes described as clairsentience, clear feeling, not imagination, not assumption, but the subtle sensing of emotional energy. And for some people, this heightened feeling begins during what many call Kundalini Awakening, a symbolic way of describing the expansion of awareness through the body. When this happens, perception doesn't only change in the mind, it changes in the heart. One of the first sensations people describe is unexpected emotional waves. You may suddenly feel compassion for strangers, or a deep understanding of someone's pain. Emotionally, this can feel overwhelming at first, but symbolically, many interpret it as the heart becoming more open to the emotional currents around it. Another experience is physical sensations tied to emotion. A tightness in the chest, a warmth spreading through the body when someone feels safe, a quiet heaviness when something feels wrong. Psychologically, the body is simply processing emotion more directly. Energetically, some traditions say the body becomes more aware of subtle emotional signals. Then there are moments when you feel someone's emotional state before they express it. A friend smiles, but you sense sadness underneath. Someone enters a room, and the atmosphere shifts, not dramatically. Just a quiet knowing through feeling. This is often how clairsentience is described, perception through emotional resonance. Another common shift is needing more solitude than before. Crowded places may suddenly feel exhausting, not because you're weak, but because you're processing more emotional information than you once did. Symbolically, this stage is the heart learning to regulate its new sensitivity, like adjusting the volume on a newly tuned instrument. Then something beautiful begins to appear. Moments when your presence itself calms others. People open up to you. They feel safe speaking about things they rarely share. Emotionally, this can feel surprising, but symbolically, many interpret this as emotional awareness becoming a quiet form of healing. And finally, perhaps the deepest shift of all, you begin to feel your own emotions more honestly. The feelings you once ignored, the sadness you once suppressed, the joy you once restrained, all of it begins rising gently into awareness, not to overwhelm you, but to release you from the emotional armor you once needed. Because awakening often begins not in the mind, but in the heart, layer by layer. Feeling by feeling, old emotional survival patterns begin dissolving, and in their place emerges something softer, more authentic. Clairsentience, in many spiritual interpretations, isn't about absorbing everyone else's emotions. It's about understanding emotions so deeply that compassion becomes natural. And when this happens, relationships change, perception changes. Even your sense of identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as separate from the emotional world around you, and instead, you become aware of the invisible threads connecting all people. This is why many describe awakening as a return to empathy, a remembering of the heart's true sensitivity. So if you've been feeling emotions more intensely, sensing atmospheres in rooms, or noticing the quiet language of energy between people, you may simply be witnessing your heart waking up. Not fragile, not broken, awakening. And if this message resonated with something you felt recently, share your experience in the comments. And if you're exploring the deeper layers of intuition, awareness, and spiritual transformation, subscribe and join this journey, because sometimes the heart feels more when consciousness is learning to expand.